Blues giant B.B. King appeared on the November 13th, 1991 episode of Later with Bob Costas. And Bob did his typical best of asking great questions, trying to get historical reference, and easing a guest into that comfort level of being open and honest. King really just strikes you as a genuine, music-loving soul. Costas asked him, did you ever think about doing anything else? And he said the only other job he was qualified to do was DJ, and since radio stations wouldn't let you play the records you wanted to listen to, it was no fun for him. So playing became a better option, and we're all better for it. When we talked about his main influences being blind Lemon Jefferson, especially Lonnie Johnson. He compared him to Robert Johnson and said Lonnie Johnson's who really rang true in his guitar playing soul. Charlie Christian, and one of his friends coming home from the European conflict, aka World War II for you young kids, brought him back some Django Reinhardt, French guitarist, jazz guitarist, and then King identifies T-Bone Walker as the person that made him never want to put Lucille down. And the only person who put Lucille down was the creator when he took B.B. King from us. So enjoy this interview with B.B. King, November 13th, 1991.
Thanks for staying up later. Two guests on the set tonight, the legendary bluesman B.B. King and his guitar, which goes by the name of Lucille. Back in the late 40s, early 50s, you tell me that you played as many as 342 one-nighters in a single year.
Yes.
But even now, you average around 300. Why keep doing it?
Well, blues haven't been the most popular music around for quite a while. It's starting to become very popular now, but say from the 40s to 50s through the 60s, I found that when traveling, the more places I went to, we could always get exposure that I couldn't get just by depending on, shall we say, the media or just people to do it. But when I would go to places and play, it seemed to stimulate the record sales, and the media would write about it. So that's the way we got press, in a way of speaking. And two, if you got a band that you like, and I think I've got one of the best that plays what I like, they have families too, so you got to, keep working so you can keep them together unless you are able to pay them without working, and I wasn't, I'm not wealthy, so I couldn't do that. And third, bills to pay.
Does it surprise you that after years of relative obscurity, you were always critically acclaimed, but you were on, in effect, the chitlin circuit for a long time, and then, relatively late in life, boom, B.B. King comes to a larger audience?
Yes, but I think like Mums Mabley used to say, the comedian.
Yeah, I remember.
Better late than never. So I'm glad to be around even today. Yeah, I wished it could have been, could have happened, say, 20 years earlier. It would really have been nice, but hey, it's nice today to see that people, young and old, in between, that are latching on to this kind of music.
In effect, the popularity of first maybe folk rock and then flat-out rock and roll helped you, because guys like Keith Richards and Paul Butterfield from the Blues Band and Eric Clapton, they were so obviously influenced by you, and they were so quick to give you credit that it might have helped to bring you out of the shadows. Is that fair to say?
I think it is, yes. Many doors was open, especially when the superstars, like what people just mentioned, when they started to play blues and mention the fact they listened to me and others like myself. Yes, it opened a lot of doors that was not open to us prior to that.
How good a guitar player are you? Because I've read where you're kind of self-deprecating. You say that really I just recognize my limitations and try and stay within that.
I would say from 1 to 10, I would be about 5, in my opinion.
What can you do well and what can't you do?
I think I solo very well, single string solo very well. Chords, probably 1 out of the 10 of my chord playing, especially behind myself as an accompanist, is awful, terrible. I'm sure that even you, if you picked up guitar today, you'd play better chords than me tomorrow.
Is that why you sort of take off? You're vocalizing, then you stop, and then there are long stretches where Lucille just kind of takes over.
Yes, I hear myself singing when I'm playing the guitar, and vice versa when I'm singing. So actually, if I'm saying something, mentally I'll hear, you know, just long. I'll hear it for a long time like that. So I find myself, a few people I have found that really can accomplish themselves very well. They sound real good playing and singing. For instance, George Benson is one, Nat Cole is another, and I could just, Mose Allison, and I could just go on and name many people that can do it so well. I can't.
So basically with you,
I need somebody.
Lucille's kind of in the background when BB's singing, then BB gets out of the way for Lucille.
You got it.
How did Lucille get her name?
In '49, I used to play a place called Twist, Arkansas, and for people that are not familiar with Twist, it's about 45 miles, I think, northwest of Memphis, Tennessee.
They don't have a big international airport in Twist, do they?
No, I'm afraid not.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
I don't think they even have crop dusters there. But we used to play there Fridays and Saturday nights, and they used to take, well, it would get quite cold in Twist, and they'd take something with like a big garbage pail, set it in the middle of the floor, half fill it with kerosene, and that's what they used for heat when they would light that. People generally would dance around it, never disturb it, but one night, two guys started fighting, and one knocked the other one over on this container. When they did, it spilled on the floor. When it spilled on the floor, it looked like a river of fire. So everybody started running for the front door, including B.B. King. But when I got on the outside, I realized I had left my guitar, and I went back for it. And when I did, the building started to collapse around me, so I almost lost my life trying to save it. The next morning, we found that these two guys was fighting about a lady. I never did meet her, but I learned that her name was Lucille. I named my guitar Lucille to remind me never to do a thing like that again. That's how it happened.
How'd they name you BB? Because your real name is Riley.
Yeah. Well, the beginning of my career, I was a disc jockey, believe it or not, in Memphis there on a local radio station. And they used to call me the boy from Bill Street. The Bill Street Blues boy, they would say quite often. And people would write me, and they started to abbreviate it, Blues Boy, BB. I like that, so that's how it came about.
How much life experience of real pain and heartache is necessary to be a genuine blues man? Or can you be a happy person and still call upon something that delivers the goods in blues?
Yes. The one thing, a lot of people, when they say blues, they automatically think of the negative side. They never think of the positive side of blues music. To me, it's two sides to every coin. So, for example, if I sing Let the Good Times Roll, I'm happy. If I sing I Got a Sweet Little Angel, I'm happy. For instance, Sweet Little Angel, I got a sweet little angel, I love the way she spreads her wings. When she spreads her wings around me, I get joy and everything. In other words, when she embraces, the guy is very happy. But the negative side would be, nobody loves me but my mother, and she could be jiving too. He's very deep down in there. Guy feels very sad. But before I left the plantation, I wasn't blue every day. We sing songs like some of the songs we sing. It's like a tonic that's good for whatever ails you. In other words, if I didn't feel good, singing what I'm singing made me feel better. And if I was feeling good, singing, I would sing to even to continue that feeling, if you will.
One time, the blues were scorned not only by uptight white audiences that kind of put it in the category of race music, which took in a lot of things that threatened them and generally came from black artists, but also by blacks, because they looked upon the blues as the devil's music. Not all blacks, but many, right?
Yes, many. I've quite often said if you were black and if you were white and you sing the blues, you're black once. If you're black and you sing them, you're black twice. So I don't know. A lot of the people was very religious, and they seem to think that if you sing this kind of music, blues, that you were selling your soul to the devil, they would say, and you'll, surely not go up. You will go down. If you keep doing it, they don't think like that now. The majority of the people, even a lot of the church-going people now, will go to a concert and hear it because they know today it's artistic like any other kind of, performing arts might be.
So I guess they felt that the gospel music sort of called people to look heavenward for some kind of joy and redemption, and that all their suffering would be redeemed, whereas the blues was more low down about the state of affairs right here on earth and confronted it with a naked eye, kind of.
Yeah, but not realizing they didn't know. I was told by some of the people in my family that blues music was sort of a rebellion against some of the things that they was taught. Most of the slaves in the area was taught gospel and what have you, taught about Jesus Christ and so on, to make them better so they wouldn't run away and they would think that they were doing the right thing to stay and be whatever their masters wanted them to be. But a lot of the blues singers found that they was being sold anyway when they was taught Christianity. So they would sing what they felt. And some of them used the hollering blues to alert people in the fields and what have you, when the boss was coming or what was going on, who was sold. And they would sing it like, if I don't get no better tomorrow, I think I'll be on my way, things of that sort. And they would warn each other through song. And that, a lot of the young people, I think today, don't even know that, they don't know, rather, that it was sort of a revolution, if you will, in the singing of these blues hollerers and field singers.
Who would you cite as your influences? And then who would you cite as the people you've influenced?
I can't say really who I've influenced. I've read where some of the people you mentioned said that they listened to me. But people that I was influenced by, you're right. Blind Lemon Jefferson was one of the few blues singers that were born in Texas. You didn't have that many. Most of them come from Mississippi, the Delta. But Blind Lemon Jefferson was one, Lonnie Johnson was another. I liked Robert Johnson, but Lonnie Johnson was my idol. And then I listened to Charlie Christian. I saw him with the Benny Goodman Orchestra. And to me, that really was something different, because I'd never heard chords and single string played as he did. In fact, his guitar was the first electric guitar that I heard playing something different from what I heard in the church. And then a friend of mine was in service, and he was stationed in Europe, and he knew that I liked guitar, so he heard of the Hot Club of France, and it was a young Frenchman there called Django Reinhardt. So he brought me records back by him, and I fell in love with him too. I thought that was great, playing the single string, then the beautiful chords. And finally I heard of a guy called T-Bone Walker on the guitar, and I went crazy for the guitar, and I've been crazy ever since. He had that oomph that a lot of us are still trying to get today, and I stand in line. He was one of the first that had the big chords we call, like a ninth chord. When we used to do, small, like that.
But just as I can hear some of where B.B. King came from in T-Bone Walker, if you listen to Keith Richards and Derek and the Dominoes and Eric Clapton, I mean, you can hear all those B.B. King chords. Too modest to say yes. Tell me what life was like out on the circuit in the 40s, early 50s, one-nighters, in the bus?
I remember one story, one thing that happened, if you've got a moment for
Sure.
it. I was in Alabama, I won't mention what town, and my bus had broke down, so I called the promoter and I said, I'm going to be late. I'm about, 150 miles from where you are, and I'll be late. Do you want me to come on, or shall I just, cancel it? He said, no, come on in, come on up. It'll be okay. So instead of being about 45 minutes late like I thought it would be, I was about an hour and 20 minutes late. So when I get to this particular place, the little hall held about 600 or 700 people, and it was chugged. It was full of people.
Yeah.
But we had a long stairway to go, like about 10 steps to a particular platform-like flat area, if you will, and then about 10 or 15 steps up further to the dance hall. Well, this promoter had his little booth sitting down on this, say, about midway of the 20 or 30 stairs, and that's where he was selling tickets for the people to come up to the show. So when I got there, I talked with him. He said, well, B, I'm sorry. You said you'd be about 45 minutes late. Now you're about, like an hour and something late, and I just can't pay you. He said, I'm sorry, but can't pay you. I said, well, I've got my band here. I said, we've came all this place, all this way. So let me play a little while. He said, okay. So I go upstairs, and it's about 700 people up there. So I figured that he was really, giving me the finger or something. So I told the people, I said, well, I don't like to disappoint people, and I've got my band here, so we're going to play for you. And we started to play, man. We played about 2 or 3 hot numbers. The people were dancing. So I stopped, and I said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to play for you for free because the gentleman downstairs said he's not going to pay me. So since he's not going to pay me, I don't see why you should pay because I'm playing free. They went down, took him out, took all the money.
The customers rifled the receipts?
Yes, they did.
Very nice.
So I had ways of getting back, but that's just one of the little stories. Many of them happened.
Will you play the blues until you die, or at least until you're physically unable?
Until I'm physically unable or people stop supporting my concerts or buying my records. Other than that, when the great ones say it's enough, that's when I'll stop. I'd like to cut down, though. I plan to do that sometime in the distant future, but I love to play. I enjoy it. What else would I do? I can't think of anything else. I like to spin records as a disc jockey, but there's not many places you could go where you could play just exactly what you'd like to play, not really follow the format of what everybody else is playing. So there's nothing else I can do very well, I think, other than...
Take off. Go ahead. Go ahead. It's all yours.
Just this morning, I took a great big long look around. I've lived it up, loved it up, and done it in this town. Life goes on, time for me to be moving on.
From B.B. King, there's always one more time, and we can only hope that there's another and another one after that. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Let's leave the last word to Lucille. Take us off the air.